citizen, considers the interests of the community within which it operates. What is the impact of the company's performance on the community? Are they doing, apart from the social welfare, are they doing something for the community? Integrates governance, strategy, risk, performance and sustainability, as I said. Employs structures and processes to ensure the integrity of integrated reporting. This concept of integrated reporting, now the IFAC, which is the apex body of the accounting profession, GRI, the Global Reporting Initiative, and Accounting for Sustainability, A4S, which is headed by Prince of Wales, they have formed this Integrated Reporting Committee, International Integrated Reporting Council, and they have recently issued a draft of integrated reporting. But before that, South Africa, and as I said, this Mr. Marvin King actually is the chairman of this committee. I believe he is spearheading this whole initiative. So I think the concept of integrated reporting, because integrated reporting is not just financial, it is also non-financial, on governance and sustainability, people, profit and planet, all of these things need to be combined. Also very important these days is the IT governance. There is nothing, at least I did not notice much on the IT governance. The board should ensure that prudent and reasonable steps have been taken in regard to IT governance. And there are elaborate requirements in King 3. This is very brief of the additional requirements of the King 3 that, and these are the requirements on IT governance which are included in the King 3 code. Last two slides. Who will enforce the code? Earlier, Hashmi Saab said that as per one survey in 2007, 90% of the companies were apparently complying with the code. I personally think that a very large number of companies have been doing either a box ticking exercise, and many requirements were being just complied with. Like I gave you the example of internal control report, the statement that internal control is sound in design and it has been effectively implemented. They just signed this statement. I think good 70-80% majority of the cases without carrying out a proper review of the internal control, or doing any work substantiating how have they done it. The problem with the code is that there is a significant gap in the lacuna in the way it is being implemented. The code is being drafted or issued by the SECP, but it is part of listing rules of the SECP, of the stock exchanges. In my personal judgment, SECP has no locus standi, no basis to, it has all the powers to issue a direction under the Securities and Exchange Ordinance to stock exchanges to amend their rules. So when they issue a directive, obviously if the KSE, Karachi and other stock exchanges do not amend or incorporate it in the rules, after a certain period of time it is automatically deemed to be part of their rules. So code is basically part of the listing regulations. Who can enforce listing regulations? Can SECP? Obviously not. SECP has no basis. SECP can only regulate the stock exchanges and regulate the listed companies where it has powers under the Companies Ordinance 1984. As far as the Code of Corporate Governance is concerned, it is part of the listing rules. So therefore only the stock exchanges can regulate. So therefore I think ideally stock exchanges should take the initiative and establish mechanisms and systems and framework whereby they monitor and regulate the enforcement of the Code of Corporate Governance. And worldwide it is done by the stock exchanges. And I think what the SECP needs to do is, instead of itself regulating, issue another directive to the stock exchanges that you have to regulate the the Code of Corporate Governance. The model of implementation enforcement in our country, as we heard earlier, it is the rule based. It's mandatory, but if people are not implementing it, what is the penalty? What can the stock exchange do? Or what can the SECP do? I don't think there has been any enforcement measure for the last 10 years. Those even 10%, assuming that 10% were not complying, is there any action? Or can there be any action? Under the present framework, the only penalty that stock exchanges can levy is to delist a company if somebody is not complying. So ideally, obviously, that is the maximum penalty. There should be some graduated mechanism, penal system of ensuring compliance by the stock exchanges. Stock exchanges should take that lead and responsibility for enforcing the code. I personally am in favor of comply or explain approach, because in that way, it is the market which regulates. And good companies which are complying, which are, establishing good corporate governance, ultimately they will get premium, their shares will be at premium, and, they will be rewarded by the market. And there should be more reward-based and market-based approach, because the problem with the rule-based approach is that our code will then lag behind. The requirements, if you compare our code now, in 2002 code, I think we were fairly advanced. But I think changes in 2012 that we have done, there are actually very few, like introducing just one independent director. Now, and without independent directors, without some of these requirements, obviously, it is not possible to effectively enforce good corporate governance. So I think it is better to introduce more challenging requirements, but having like UK and many other countries, comply or explain approach would be much better rather than the rule-based approach, which you can't enforce anyway. But if it is rule-based, then at least there should be a mechanism of enforcement, and it should be clarified, and stock exchanges have to take the lead in enforcement. Approach to corporate governance. Corporate governance should not be confined to requirements of the code, in my personal judgment, because good companies should be encouraged. They should actually take the lead. Rather, it should be beyond compliance, aimed at enhancing long-term viability of the company. Code requirements should be considered as minimum. Best approaches beyond compliance, and doing more in the best interest of the company. Thank you very much for this. So we'll be happy to respond to any questions.
Thank you, Asad. The floor is now open for question answers. Before you ask any question, please state your name and organization, and also state to whom your question is addressed to.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Thank you, Asad, for giving a very detailed account of what is missing and what should be done. It was just like a workshop, not a seminar. And I suggest that you should also write to the ICAP, SECB for those things which are missing. But here I would like to mention one very big thing missing, which has hurt all the chartered accountants. That is the new amendments in the Code of Corporate Governance, whereby chartered accountants are compulsorily required to have 5 years listed company experience in order to become CFO. It has hurt all the chartered accountants, including yourself. If you want to join any company as a CFO, you will not be eligible because you don't have 5 years listed company experience. Number two, you mentioned about the independence, although there are so many conditions to determine what is independent and what is not independent. But unfortunately, people are taking on board to only those persons where they are comfortable, they are their good friends, and they feel that they cannot harm their companies. You mentioned about the related party. Sir, our auditor brothers are very safe because the review report wording adequately covers audit professionals. If you read the review report may auditors are quite adequately covered because on arm's length transaction, if not there, they just rely on board representations. Right. basically the Code of Corporate Governance is reflected through an organization chart.